Hello, everyone, and of course to the Trio tribe. The big trio is back. Apologize for a little bit of delay. There was some technical difficulties, so just a day late in uploading it. But I think you'll enjoy this. Today we're gonna head back to Hamster, and there's a little bit of skunk in here too, but because Hamster and skunk goes on these vacations together, and we're gonna go back to Hamster today and talk about one of his just to show his how his unsolved behaviors didn't just occur once he got married or was engaged. This was unsolved behaviors from time, and this is just another prime example. We're going to go through it with you guys, and it's one of those ones where we're on vacation again, and how he met up with a girl or tried to snake her actually, but whatever. That's a different story. But we're gonna go through that, and you're gonna see a few unsolved behaviors that are inexplicable, just as all the other unsolved behaviors have been so far. So I'm the big trio yellow,
Big trio white.
Big trio brown.
and I guess we're ready to start.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So back at it with Hamster. As you recall, he was the guy in the first couple episodes who got married and did stupid ass shit and made us try to change in a dirty, disgusting gas station style washroom and called it a mansion. But it's the same guy, and this occurrence happened a few years, or no, maybe a couple of years before he's gotten married. But actually, what's funny is before this trip that he came on with us, we went to another tropical island for our like winter vacation together years ago, all of us, and he I think at that time had just met who would eventually become his wife through Tinder. And what's funny is that this is when Tinder first came out, and we were all about it, going on it, trying to get girls and stuff. And he would be the first one to be like, nah, I ain't going on that. That's crazy. Like, you don't know who you're gonna meet. Oh, they're all hookers and shit. Like, you're gonna just be paying for girls. You guys are disgusting. They all have diseases and like they're whores. And then what happened after we started using it? This guy used it and eventually found his wife, who is very nice and not a whore, like he thinks, or like he said about all girls on it. So he proved himself wrong once again, and then also once again went against his belief, as he usually does with all the other stupid shit he does. And you'll hear about more of them today. So anyways, we were on this trip, and he was sharing a room with Skunk actually on this trip, which is like, I don't know. This is like
with me too. The three of us.
Oh,
actually.
it was all three.
Yeah.
You got punked. So you got punked hard.
Yeah. Well, wait till they hear the story. It was semi-punked. It was semi-punked.
It's semi-punked, but it also, I don't know how you got that short end of the stick. That's hardcore, bro. You got both of them in your room. Oh man. But anyways, they were also at each other's throats. So that's why I'm saying you got short end of the stick. Those two were fighting each other and then fighting for girls at the same time and also sulking at the same time. So you caught some crazy shit on that trip. But anyway, so I'm just gonna do a little intro on how what are we gonna call this girl? What do you want to call her?
Call her Coyote.
You want Coyote gal?
Coyote. She reminds me a little bit of Coyote, like some chick from Coyote Ugly.
All right, fine. Yeah, are you talking about the good one? Like,
No.
Coyote uglies are really hot.
Not all. I wouldn't say all of them are hot.
All right. Well, let's call her Coyote Ugly then.
Sure.
We'll leave it at that. So Coyote Ugly. Now that I think about it, she does kind of look like a coyote, actually. Period. But in his defense, she wasn't that bad. Like, she had a nice body. Like, it wasn't like skunk shit that he goes for. Like, this one, she had like a coyote face, but her body was decent and shit. So, I would have probably tried to plow that too if I was him. But he did it in a stupid way. So we'll explain that. But anyway, so Coyote Ugly, we were on this trip on a tropical island. So we went once again at the hotel, we caught these girls early on in the day. We talked to them a bit, and we're like, okay, like we're going out tonight. Why don't you guys like come out with us? We're going to this club, and they agreed. So then we went to the club at night after drinking, and then we saw them there. And for some reason, like she handed me she was dancing on the dance floor, and she just took off her earrings and she handed them to me. So I'm like, okay, I'm not sure what to do with these. So I took them and I just put them in my pocket. I was hammered. I even forgot about them. And then finally, we got back to the hotel afterwards. I didn't see her again for the rest of the night. I think she was out like making out with random dudes and not named Hamster. So this is already like a bad beginning to what he was about to do later. But so she comes back to the hotel because they're staying at her hotel, and we see them at the bar because it's a 24-hour bar. And I started ordering drinks, and then I saw her, and I'm like, hey, I got your earrings. She's like, oh my God, I forgot about them. And to give you a little bit of a primer on this on Hamster tonight, he was nowhere to be found like the whole night. He was MIA, not sulking, but not having a good time either. I don't know what was wrong with him on that trip. No, he wasn't having a great time either. He he looked all tired. He complained about the food and all that crap. And he's like, oh, I don't have no energy because can't eat anything here. I'm like, you're an idiot. There's tons to eat. Like, don't be so picky. And so he was like de-energized like for the whole time. And then all of a sudden, once I started talking to this girl, who fucking all of a sudden had Popeye style energy, this guy came out of nowhere. He shot across the fucking lobby, cut in front of me while I was talking to her, and be like, hey, I'm Hamster. I'm like, what a motherfucker. I'm talking to this girl, and this guy I didn't even know where he was. Sorry, you were saying?
No, I was just laughing because I'm picturing this in my head right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So we started talking and stuff. He started talking and stuff, and I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna let this guy have his fun here. I'm gonna step away from this other girls I'm gonna go talk to. Because she had two other friends that were actually pretty hot. Remember the one white? That one that came that was by our room.
Yeah,
we'll talk. Yeah, she was top notch. But we'll get to that a little bit later because that's another thing. But so I went over to talk to him, and if you know this guy, I'm gonna ask Brown this just now. With Hamster, what are his like sleeping habits and where usually?
Hamster Hamster is all about his sleep. This guy does not he won't even go to a cottage just because the bed or the mattress won't be right or suitable for him. Even hotels, like he's so fucking picky with hotels. He won't even sleep on certain hotels. He even sometimes will bring a towel to put it over his pillow because he's afraid of. I don't know what he's afraid of that's on the pillow. Like, what the fuck is this? Just to give you an idea, on the way to the destination or the hotel or whatever, he's got a towel on the headrest of the car if it's not his car. This is the kind of shit. But with this guy will not. First of all, he loves his sleep so much that he won't even stay past like midnight. It's like a Cinderella story for him. So he's got to get by like midnight. He won't because he's all tired. He's all fucked
Hold
up.
on, by midnight though, he's not Cinderella. Turns into some princess. He turns into a hamster at midnight.
That's pretty much what it is. A fucking dead hamster. But
Yeah.
So yeah, he's all sulky. He's got to go back and sleep. He's all concerned about his sleep because it fucks up his entire next 6 months. That's just how he is. One night out will basically fuck up 6 months. 1 week fucks up 6 years. So that's how it works for him. So yeah, basically he can't. Those resorts and hotels and stuff, they don't do him any good. So he usually has to go back by a certain time, and he's got to be knocked out, and he has to try to sleep before anybody else because he's like, people are gonna wake me up, so I got to be the first one to go to bed. Like, all right, do your thing. So that's just how he is, and you gotta actually beg this guy to come on. This isn't something that he says, yeah, I'm gonna join you guys, or I'm down, or I'm good with this, or I want to do the cause. You've got to actually beg him because these are things that he actually brings up as his points as to why he doesn't want to go or on vacation or it's because of his sleep. I'm not even kidding you. The sleep is his priority.
So sleep is priority. So you guys get the point now is that he will not sleep anywhere foreign, even like a foreign bed, let alone what happened next. So this guy started talking, Hamster started talking to Coyote Ugly. We started talking to the friends. And then if you guys remember, we went back and we talked about Skunk's stupid friends like Z and whatnot. Those mans were all on that trip too. And they all of a sudden saw we were talking to girls, and we were trying to keep our distance from them because they were doing fucked up shit the whole trip. Like where if you were associated with them,
drugs and shit.
Oh yes, one yeah. So just in a minute, I might actually get White to get into the story about this. One of the Skunk's friends that was like high on drugs and in a country where you don't want to be found with no fucking drugs because you go straight to like jail, which it's not like Canada jail. If you went to this jail, you might as well like go to hell because if you saw this shit, you wouldn't dare do it. So anyways, those fuckers were on the trip and we were keeping our distance and shit because we didn't want to be associated. If you were associated with them, and you were getting no chicks because they're like the immature like dumbasses. Except for there's this one man that was fine, and he was okay because he actually just did his own thing and didn't bother us. There was the other ones that were fucked up. So those guys came out of nowhere because they had no girls and started talking to the girls we were talking to. And at this point, we're like, this is a fucking huge cock fest. Like nobody's gonna get anything. Like I'm dipping from this situation. It's late. I'm tired. If I stay here, I'm gonna like slap one of these fuckers up like Z. So I'm like, you know what? I was sharing a room with White. I'm like, let's fuck this. Like, let's just go back to the room and we'll figure this out tomorrow. Leave these guys to it. So Brown, why don't you get into what happened next with Hamster? And keeping in mind, this guy won't even sleep in a proper bed that's not his own. He'll complain. So
we came back, and I guess we were chilling in the lobby or whatever that, and we were just going back to the room. We all rolled together, so all mans were just kind of like, whatever, we're done with this fucking stupid shit. So we were going back to the room, and I remember I went in the room first, and this guy was inside the room opening the closet and shit and like grabbing blankets. So I was like, yo, what are you doing, man? And he's like, yo, I'm just getting these things out to go to sleep, whatever. So at that time, our room was situated. We had 3 beds. Normally, the room has 2 beds. I took the jailman's bed, is what you call it, because it was like sleeping on a fucking cardboard box. So I'm like, yeah. I sucked it up and I slept on that one. So his bed was there, and then Skunk's bed was like beside him. Mine was kind of a little bit on an angle. So he was grabbing all the sheets and shit like that. He was even taking the sheets from Skunk. And I'm like, where are you going with this? He's like, yo, man. He's like, you're not gonna believe it. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna go sleep on that beach. And I'm like, you're not being for real here. I'm like, you're fucking around. And he's like, no, I'm gonna go sleep on the beach. I'm like, yo, man, you don't even sleep on fucking hotel beds. You're gonna go sleep on sand and the beach. And I'm like, with all that shit going on, and I'm like, with the water, you know what kind of marine activities is happening at night? I'm like, who are you going to sleep on the beach with? I'm like, I know you're not going to sleep on the beach alone. And he's like, I'm going with that girl, you know. I'm like, the same girl that you were talking to? He's like, yeah, man, you know, she feels me, you know, she gets me, you know, we connected, you know, I think she understands me. I'm like, bro, you just met her like today.
Not even today. You met her 15 minutes ago.
You literally just started talking to her today. He's like, yeah, but like I told her everything, you know, I felt comfortable. And that was always his thing. When he met a girl, after 15, 20 minutes or like even an hour, they already know his entire life story.
And he's immediately comfortable somehow.
From when he was born to literally what he's doing now in his life. They all know.
He's legitimately that stage 5 clinger in Wedding Crashers.
Yeah. So fucking this guy's telling me to sleep on the beach, and I couldn't believe this shit. I'm like, for real, you're already doing this for? So he goes now and he jumps in the shower. I guess he forgets that he forgot he had to shower. So he jumps in the shower. He's taking a shower. He's like, yo, man, like nobody gets.
Why is he showering to go to the beach like in the middle of the night?
Oh, trying to get some pokey. I don't know what he's doing. but we understood why afterward. But So this man's showering something. Now this is like 4:30 in the morning, so we're already like buzzed and shit. So I didn't have enough, like I didn't have more time to like fucking sit there and ask him a ton of questions. But he was just talking through about how she gets him and like she told me everything, and I trust her and I'm like, yeah, she's gonna fucking tell you everything, you all within like an hour of you meeting her and talking to her. So this guy goes and he actually went and slept on the beach. I think we even found him the morning when we were going to the beach.
Well,
We
yes,
found him.
this guy laid. He was sprawled out on a like a sun lounger under one of those huts, like spread eagle, and the girl was like beside him, and we're like, this is what you came out here to do. And then I even saw on his leg he got like mad mosquito bites. I'm like, he finally woke up, and I'm like, yo, man, like, did you get like herpes overnight or something? It was all this shit on your leg and shit. Like, you better wrap that shit up if you did something. He's like, nah, man, that was like mad comfortable. I'm like, yo, this is not, it's not mad comfortable in like the best of times. Never mind trying to get sleep. It's like a sun lounger. Like, it's hard plastic and shit. It's like, oh man, mad comfortable. Like, I fell asleep like a baby. I'm like, are you fucking for real? Or are you like just talking shit in front of this girl who barely understands English, by the way? Like, are you like you don't have to talk shit because she can't understand you really. He's like, nah, man, like it was best sleep I had in like months and shit. I'm like, I'm walking away from this.
But he was dropping on me before he started telling me about how he was going to sleep on the beach with that girl. But he was like, oh, I thought it would be nice to sleep under the moonlight. I'm like, you, this shit.
I wonder if Skunk's the one that told him that, because Skunk's the one that says, oh, well, we'll get into Skunk a little bit more another time. But this would be the type of shit Skunk would say. So I think they influenced each other. So there you go. You got him sleeping on the beach where he won't even sleep on a proper bed in like nice rooms and shit, but it was mad comfortable. So this already gives you an idea of how contradictory he is. I just want to jump back to Skunk's friends that were on that trip for a second, just because they're so fucked up. So White, why don't you just go in a little bit on a few of his friends there? We already went through Z a little bit on a previous podcast, how he like snaked like Skunk's like girlfriend number two. Yeah, it was number two. And like slammed the shit out of her. So now you already get the gist of one of their friends. So why don't you go on this next man here?
Yeah, the one I really want to talk about is one. We gave him the name Sweater Vest. You need to picture the most hairy human that has ever walked on Earth, but has perfect trim lines around like the neck and around the arms of hair. It literally looks like he's wearing a sweater.
It does look like a sweater vest for real. And those, if you ever saw this wasn't like trim line where he manicured it into like a sweater vest.
No,
this was natural. Yeah, he had natural sweater vest trim line. So there you go. We call them sweater vest. Go ahead.
All right, so this guy was like, I don't know, on something, man. This guy had like drugs from, I don't even know if he brought them or I think he got them there from like on the beach or something. But he was running around this resort like he was like Superman on speed or something, and all he did was like, he never stopped the entire time. You could barely like keep track of this guy. You'd be sitting there and he would be like zip by you, and it's like, whoa, where did that guy go? Where's he going? And he's out back at the beach, and he literally would not listen to anybody. He would just walk around for like hours on end.
I do remember this because it wasn't even, and this wasn't like going to the beach like during the day. This was like dead of night. There was darkness, so I don't know what you can see at the beach at that time. So we know something was up.
Yeah, that one rhythm dance move fist pump thing that he did throughout the entire day.
He was trying to be Jersey Shore, but definitely was not jacked in any way, nor did he know what he was doing.
You were yellow. Remember when you came out of the water to use your towel?
Yo, that shit fucking pissed me off, bro.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. So, you might have had sweater fiber in your beach towel.
Hey. Yo,
the guy comes out of the sweater.
Let me prime this for you to get into this, but when we arrived, we went to the beach like maybe an hour after we dropped off the hotel. So Sweater Vest and his crew were already at the beach checking it out, and they were walking back to the hotel, and we were walking towards the beach, and we crossed paths. So I had my towel with me, and as we walked past, he's like, "Oh, yo, man, you brought a towel?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh man, you mind if I borrow it?" I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna use it right now, but don't you have your own towel or whatever?" He's like, "No, I forgot it." I'm like, "Okay, well, it's all good. Just like borrow one at like the hotel room or the hotel like kiosk or whatever. They'll just give you a towel and you give it back to them afterwards." He's like, "Oh, good idea." I'm like, so pretty much in a nice way, I was telling him, "Don't fucking touch my towel." So, anyways, go ahead, White.
So, well, we ended up over at the beach, and we're all in the water or whatever, and I came out a little bit before you, and he came out around the same time I did. And this guy picks up your towel out of like the little bags and everything you keep like all your crap in on the beach. He like pulls it out and starts like wiping himself down. I'm like, "Yo, man, did Yellow say you could use his towel?" He's like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine." I'm like, I don't want it to be that fine when he comes out of the water.
Yo, go ahead. Sorry.
And like 5 minutes later, you come walking out. I'm like, "Yo, Sweater Vest, just use your towel." And you're like, "What?"
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. If one of my friends that I knew wanted to wipe down their like whatever ocean water or pool water with my towel, I wouldn't give two shits. I don't know this guy. I met him like an hour ago. I don't know what kind of fucking skin diseases you may have or not have. Either or, I don't know you. I don't want you wiping. Sorry.
There's a higher chance of have on the skin diseases.
Yeah, I have fucking no clue who this guy is. And I'm like, so I don't want you using my towel, man. Like, it's not a terrible request, and it's not like you're gonna die from this water. You walk around 5 minutes in that weather, you're gonna dry off anyways. But he chose to pick up my towel after I explicitly told him, "Do not use my towel." Well, I guess I didn't explicitly say it, but I said it in as nice way and clear way as possible. Go get your own. So, but what's funny is I came out of that water. I came out of the ocean, and if you ever met White, I don't know. I think he has like some sort of hip problem because I've never seen him. He walks in a certain manner, and you always know it's White when it doesn't. But this was like lightning bolt speed for him. So I came out of the water, and this guy White shot up from his towel while lying down and did a full like penguin like speed walk towards me. And I'm like, holy fuck, I'm like, something's up. I'm like, either A, somebody's getting in a fight and we gotta go quickly, or B, there's like hot girls around us and I gotta go help. I never expected that. He came up to me, he's like, "Yo, guess what just happened?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Fucking somebody used your towel." I'm like, "Who? Who the fuck used my towel? Like Brown or you?" He's like, "No. Guess who?" I'm like, "I fucking have no idea, man." He's like, "If you really, it's a fucking Sweater Vest, man." And that, and at that point, we hadn't called him Sweater Vest yet, because we didn't have a name for anybody really. But once you said the name, I knew exactly who you were talking about. Like, it wasn't even like Sweater Vest is what we call this guy on the trip. So this is not even a name we kind of made up. Like, we referred to this guy as Sweater Vest. So when you said that, I was angry, but yeah, at the same time laughing, because that name fit perfectly with who he was, and it was just so stupid. So here's another one of fucking Skunk's friend. Fucking guy, he's a thief, drug addict, running around. Oh, his excuse about going to get running around in the middle of the night was that he's like, I'm like, "Yo, man," like, I think it was Brown. Usually like, "Yo," he like literally stopped this guy from like dead in his tracks, because he was like doing full on Donovan Bailey, like Usain Bolt speed through the lobby, and you're like, "Yo, man, where are you going so fast?" And he's like, "Going back to the beach." I'm like, you're like, "Why?" He's like, "I gotta grab some stuff, stuff." And we're like, "You're like, you mean stuff?"
Man. It's 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, this is late at night. This is like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., like Brown's saying. And we're like, "Yo, man, that's not really safe to be doing that here. He's like, also got, I met some chick and I'm gonna get some condoms. And I'm like, we know he wasn't getting no chicks down there. He was one going down there and getting drugs. He was already on fucking Molly and shit or whatever it was he was on. So there's another guy. Who else was there? There's the other guy. Oh, the other, his Skunk's best friend at that trip. Brown, why don't you go? Was it Brown or was it you, White, when we first intro into the two other girls that we met that we tried to get at the beginning?
Yeah,
was it you
that was in line. Yeah, when we were registering for our room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, while we were registering for a room, we saw two other girls, and we all started talking to them. I think it was me, you, White, and you, Brown, in a circle, talking to these two girls in the line.
Them while they were waiting in line. We had already checked in, so we were just kind of waiting there chilling. And we saw them in line before they got up there, and we just went in, and we started talking to them.
Yeah, so we were talking to them. We were like making convo and telling them to come drink with us, which we always do. And then I'm not lying. This was a tight circle. We were 5 people. It was me, Brown, White, and these 2 girls in a circle just talking to each other. There was no room for anybody to fucking come through. All of a sudden, what did you see, Brown?
There was this little like sneaky Donald Trump hand came in between 2 of us by our waist and went right in between the girls. And then we heard the name from the back. There wasn't even a head to follow through with the hand. The hand just kind of came through like we had a third hand in between our hips that kind of snuck through, and then the head poked out afterwards, like in between our head.
Because he was shorter than us, right? So we were in a perfect circle. A hand came through, but with no body because we were taller than him. You couldn't see him.
His hand was as pale as could fucking be because this was day one. This was day one, so he didn't hit the beach or anything yet. So there's that pale skin, and he was like right in between me. And obviously I'm like browner, and then there's you're yellowish. So he had that really stand up color in between. That went out between it. But that's all we saw was that fucking hand. That we looked down and we saw the hand just kind of go in, and we're like, "Who the fuck is this?"
I got confused for a second because I'm like, did the White grow like a third hand that I didn't see? Because I was like, "Yo, where does other white hand come from?"
White was on like on the other side. It was more like the circle. It was me, it was you, and then it was White, and then he just kind of slipped in because he was like behind us. Him and his crew was behind us, and then when he saw us talking to them, he's like, "Oh my god!" Like that was like that's another story for another time. But that was basically his fucking trend was, I'm just gonna use these mans to get, and then I'm gonna slide in. But that's how he slid in hand first.
Hand first, no body, faint voice from behind, and we're like, we just met this guy too, so we were like, usually if one of your friends come in, it's like, oh, this is like so and so. He came in and said hi, and we ignored him because we're like, what the fuck are you trying to do right now? And then we're like, eventually, like, it would have been weird if we just continued to like wall him off. So we had to open the circle and let this motherfucker in. But anyways, this is just another like example of his friends. We can get more into that guy later on because he does some stupid shit too, block us. So anyways, let's continue with back to Hamster and after that day. So White, the next morning, we were sharing a room and we got up and those girls' rooms were by us.
Yeah, they were just down the hall.
Yeah, they were literally down the hall from us, like by coincidence. So the ones that we're talking about, Coyote Ugly and her friends and shit. And so what did you see as we walked out of our room? What did you see in front of us? And whom did you see in front of us? Sorry.
So we had Hamster and Coyote Ugly going for a stroll. I can't remember if they were going. I think they were going out to the pool or something, if I'm not mistaken. And we literally were like, Hamster, yo, Hamster, what are you doing? And this man ignored us like we did not even exist on Earth, and he continued to walk towards wherever he was going.
Yep, this is correct. I was with you, and he kept on walking, and the girl was with him. Coyote Ugly was with him, and we're like, yo, like, I know he saw us like dead in the eye because he had dropped his sunglasses and he turned around to pick him up, and I know he saw me and he saw you, But he
He
picked him
definitely
up.
saw us. There's no
Yeah.
way he didn't hear us either, but
Yeah, and we were also like kind of calling him. And then he literally just continued walking, ignoring us. And then finally, Coyote Ugly, I heard her say to him, like, aren't all those your friends? They're like calling you. And he'd be like, oh, yo, mans, what's going on? We're like, yo, man, we've been calling you for like fucking 10 rooms ago saying hi. He's like, oh, man, didn't hear you. I'm like, you looked at us when you dropped your sunglasses and kept on walking. He's like, oh man, must not have seen you. Like, obviously bullshit. So this is already how you saw where things were going with this, because he came with us, and then all of a sudden he met a girl, and already he started to like kind of like ignore and like just focus on the girl. So between this whole time, we go through we go as we go on the trip. He gets more and more distant from us and more attached to her. To at one point, I guess Brown, you can tell about this part. What happened on like Valentine's Day? While we were on Valentine's Day, happened to fall on our trip. That's what happened. So go ahead, Brown.
Yeah, I know he wasn't hanging out with us much, and I kept asking him like, "Yo, man, like, who'd you come on this trip with? Like, you came here to hang out with us. I don't understand what's going on. I know you met a girl, whatever. You do your thing. That's what you do on vacation. But then that's it. Like, you're looking a wife on vacation. This is the next thing." And then he's like, yeah. He's like, he's like, I'm gonna take her out or whatever like that. And it was on Valentine's Day. And I think the night before we were talking about it, and he's like, no, I'm not doing nothing for Valentine's Day, because I was chirping him. I remember we were chirping him about Valentine's Day, about how he's all wifed up and shit, and he's wifing on vacation. That's fucked up. And and we were like, yo, you're gonna end up taking this girl on vacation. He's like, nah, I'm not gonna do that, man. That's too much. Like, I wanna give her some space. And then he was saying something about how she was going fucking swimming with dolphins or some shit.
Oh
So
yeah.
so Valentine's Day came, and he was kind of being a little shady through the entire day from our normal routine when we went to the beach and stuff like that. He was like, it was almost like when somebody's running from somebody with that owed them money or like owed them drugs or some shit. They're constantly looking right. Like, he's acting really funny the entire day. He's looking like left and right all around. So I was like, yo, what's going on, man? He's like, yo, have you seen that Coyote Ugly? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't look for her. I don't fucking care. And he's like, oh, I've seen her. I'm like, didn't you say she was going like swimming with the dolphins or some shit like that? He's like, no, she wasn't going today. I'm like, okay. I'm like, so why do you care then? You'll see her at night or whatever. And he's like, no. He's like, like she told me some stuff, and I kind of want to treat her good. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Treat her good? Like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna. He didn't want to say Valentine's Day. He's like, we were just gonna go out tonight for some drinks. I'm like, you mean as in the fucking like lobby where we're all drinking? That's not going out for drinks. We're just gonna, or like, you mean the street or whatever? And he's like, no, we're just gonna go have a night. Before he even completed the sentence, I was like, you're gonna fucking take her on Valentine's Day, aren't you? Like, no, man. He's like, she's really nice, and she like listens to me and like she cares, and like this might be someone that I like and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, this isn't somebody that you like. I don't understand what's going on here. I'm very confused by what's happening. And then I started just poking him more about the fucking, did you come on vacation to get wifed up, or did you come here to have fun with like your boys and shit? And he's like, yeah, I'm having fun with you, man. I'm like, it doesn't look like it, because you haven't hung out with us at all. You've been sleeping on the beach. You've been fucking ignoring people. You've been, the moment you see this girl, it's like your ass has an airbag, and you fucking just spring right up, and you're gone running, you're gone running to her.
Do you remember that time? Like, when the one time he actually was in the lobby with us, and this is when that one time you were talking about how she went swimming with the dolphins, some shit, right?
Yeah.
So we were in the lobby, and that man was with us, and he looked all anxious the whole time, and we didn't really understand why. We were like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy, Hamster? And so we finally saw her like come like through the lobby door, like she was all like wet and all shit because she went swimming with the dolphins. Her hair is all fucked up, and we're like, she passed by, and we're like, yo, where'd you go? Like, you're all wet. And keep in mind, this is like, it was dark outside. I was calling this like what, 10 p.m. She's like, yeah, we went midnight swimming with the dolphins. I'm like, why? Who? Why? What kind of shady? When you go swimming with the dolphins, don't you want to see the dolphin? Like, it's fucking dark and scary in the ocean and shit. She's like, yeah, some guy on the beach just picked us up, and he's like, you guys want to go swimming with dolphins? So we said, okay. We're like, who's this guy on the beach? He's like, we don't know. we just thought it was fun, and we went with him in his car, and then some van just took off to like where some dolphins were like in like some like area, and we just went in, and I'm like, could you see the dolphins? She's like, no, we couldn't really see them, but I can hear them. I'm like, no, that's the guy who took you there. He's fucking feeling you up probably. I ain't no dolphin. You're feeling up that guy's balls. You just couldn't see him.
Real. That slimy shit was them tickling fucking her. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. That guy was probably making like fucking imitating dolphin noises from time, trying to get girls this way. He's like, I don't even know what dolphins do, but whatever they do. You were rubbing his slimy balls. Wasn't no dolphin's head you were rubbing. You didn't even know. But anyways, she's like, I'll be back. I'm gonna bring my girls are coming back. We'll all drink. We're all gonna go out for dinner, as in her and her girls. So they went back and got dressed. And I saw after that interaction, I saw Hamster like calm down just a little bit. Like he was less anxious. He started drinking a little bit more because now I guess he knew where she was. And then when she came back all dressed up, and like she's like, I'm going out for dinner. And then she like winked or waved at like Hamster. And Hamster, that's when you said he had some springboard on his ass. This guy, some airbag popped up, like something crashed into his ass. He popped up as fast as you could see, and he fucking like did that Captain Morgan stance on the top step, looking at her as if he was about to propose. I was like, this is so fucked. This guy's so dumb. I can't believe this. He's all over this girl who just went with some random dude to go pet his balls, and now he's still all over her. But anyways, go ahead, continue with your story during that Valentine's Day stuff.
Well, this guy went all out. Like I think he took her for like steak and lobster and bought her flowers and shit.
Yes.
And fucking wined and dined her right by the some fancy restaurant by the beach. And then he got fully dressed up, and I'm talking about dress shirt, dress pants, dress shoes.
And it's hot.
And guess what? Like that Michael Jordan belt came back.
Jordan,
oh yeah.
Diamond belt buckle came out.
That Jordan belt buckle.
The vintage outfit came out, and he made sure he told her what to wear too. She was like, oh, he told me that he liked like short dress, red short dress with red lipstick. So she wore that, and they were walking down that fucking street like they were literally a married couple. His hands were over her shoulder, and it was like the perfect thing for him, like he was living some kind of fucking fairy tale.
No, yeah, not to get anything wrong. Like when you meet girls on a trip, great. You know, sometimes you'll like her more than usual, but you don't ignore your friends, is what we're trying to say. And this is what he was doing. I remember that night too, because we were walking out of a restaurant, and I think what's funny is her friends came with us because, like, I guess like Hamster took away their friend, and without asking them, they're like, what the fuck? And then she's like, oh, I think thought they were coming with them to that restaurant for Valentine's Day, but then I think Hamster said something to her, and then she's like, oh, okay. So, and at that point we played wingman, and we're like, okay, fuck, this guy's so fucked, but whatever. You girls want to come with us to dinner? They're like, okay, let's go to dinner. And we were walking. Remember, the restaurant's located inside that park, and we were walking out, and they were walking into the park as we were walking out of the park, and we're like, we saw them, and he was legitimately going to walk right past us without saying hi, and without a lie, he was gonna walk right past us. And I'm not talking about past as in like there's distance between us. He was walking right at us, and he was going to walk around us and not say anything. He got right past us, and we were about to tell him to fuck off. We're like, what the fuck? We were about to say it, and then the girl turned around and was like, hey guys, like Coyote Ugly. And he's like, oh, yo, didn't even see you, mans. We're like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're standing, you were headed right at us. How did you not see us? Are you blind? So he was going to ignore us even on that night. Like, I don't know what he was scared. Like, we're going to snake that woman from him or some shit. And then we're like, where the fuck are you going? He's like, yo, we're just going to go do that swan paddle boat ride in the pond. We're like, what? It's like 9 p.m. It's not even open. And he's like, yeah, man, like it's gonna be mad nice to like have that breeze. We're like, no, you're not in the ocean. There's no breeze. It's a fucking pond in a park. and the girl didn't even know because she barely speaks English. So first of all, I don't know how there was connection that much because they didn't speak the same language. But also, she was confused most of the time when we were talking because we were telling him like random shit, and we're like, she's like, must have been like, these guys look like they want to punch him in the face. They don't. She doesn't know what's happening. So I think she just stuck by and just let whatever happen. So yeah, that was another example of him about to ignore us. And then why don't you talk about? I think Brown knows about this more. That one night he finally got it in, and what happened when he how did it go down, if you remember?
I know we're coming to the end, but I'll say this and I'll basically cut it off with that one.
Yeah, once you say this, I think there's one more thing I'll say, and it's pretty much done anyway. So we're about done.
He didn't say anything at all about what happened, but when we got on the plane to come back, we're headed back home. He sat there, and I'm like, "Yo, why do you look so disturbed?" Because he was constantly on the phone, like messaging her, like back and forth. He was still messaging. I'm like, "Yo, just wait till you get back, man. Like, just relax." I'm like, "Why do you look so disturbed?" He's like, "Yo, like, I just wanted to know what she was like doing and shit like that." I'm like, "She's probably at the fucking beach. That's what she's doing." And I'm like, "I don't understand why you care. Like, just leave it alone. Like, you'll see her when you get back." Because at this time he was like, how he's gonna make plans to go and like check her and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, well, whatever. And then he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna tell you something that like, I never told anybody, or I didn't say anything at all, and I'm a little bit worried too." Like, okay, what is it? He's like, "Yeah, I fucked her, but I did it without a condom."
He put it in raw.
I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I'm like, "How the hell did this go down?" He's like, "Oh, it was one of the nights on the beach, and things just kind of got intimate there or whatever like that." And he's like, she was trying to. I think what he's trying to tell me is that she's trying to give him like fucking head, and he's like, he didn't want that because he's like, he's like, she's a good girl, and I don't want her doing that. She's fucking sucking off.
Oh my god.
She's probably sucking off madmans the entire trip. This guy's like, she's a good girl, and I don't want her to do that. So he didn't make her give him head. Like, I guess she started to like do it or whatever with that. And then he said no. He's like, "No, you're a good girl. I don't want you to do that."
Well, you're a good girl, but your pussy can be a cum dumpster. That's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. He took her back to the room and smashed it raw. When he fucking had Jimmy's, the room had Jimmy's.
Oh, everybody on that trip had Jimmy's.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody on that trip had Jimmy's. He just needed to ask one person, or just even go through a bag, and he would have found a Jimmy.
He didn't even need to ask. It was laid out there because fucking skunk always like left, even though he never used it. Well, he used it, but he just opens it to say that he uses it. But it would always be out there, like laid out there, anyways, for anybody. So it was there. He didn't even need to ask if he didn't want it. But before you say your part and close it off, he did say, he's like, but those like white and yellow really pissed me off. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He's like, "Yo, the night, like last night," which would have been the last night of our vacation. But he was like, the last night they were like, going and knocking on her door and stuff and playing games. I'm like, but she's got two other friends there. They're playing games with all of them. That's what we do on vacation. He's like, "Yo, I don't like that shit, man. Like, and that's not my kind of shit. Like, I'm like, well, that's what happens on vacation. It doesn't fucking matter what you like or what you don't like. We're gonna do like." I'm like,
I forgot about that knocking on the door thing.
Oh yeah. And I remember what I put on that door too, because they were trying to play games with us first, actually, and then we're like, "Oh yeah, you want to do this shit, eh?" They were like fucking putting like water bottles on shit, knocking on the door, and then we would open the door and they'll spill water everywhere. We're like, "Okay, you want to do this shit?" So what we did is we put like we wrote on a sign. Do you remember what we wrote, White?
I can't remember what we wrote, but I remember filling a garbage can with water.
That was the first one, and then the second part was we wrote on the sign and we stuck it on the door. We're like three girls inside wanting big cock, knock on door, and they were fucked. They had kept on getting the door knocked on the whole night, was what we found out later.
Oh, yeah.
Because guys were just knocking on the door, and they were scared. They were like, "Why are people knocking on the door?" Like, "Oh, you want to mess with white and yellow and brown? This is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get fucking fucked up. Don't mess with us." Those were the games that we were playing, and I guess Hamster didn't like that shit. But just remember though, she's a good girl that petted some guy's fucking dolphin balls probably, and but she's a good girl. So that just gives you that story. But I'm gonna end this off by just finishing off what happened once we got. Actually, before I do that, one more thing about skunk and condoms, because you just reminded me. I don't know if we brought this up on another podcast, but apparently there was that one night where he supposedly we did see this. Skunk was making out with some chick in the club, brutal, but which he said was an 8 out of 10, and then asked us later and asked me to ask you, Brown, later what you would rank her, thinking that you would back him up that she would be an 8 out of 10. I'm like, yo, max, she was like 5, 6 out of 10, max. And I called you. I'm like, can you tell Skunk what you thought that girl was? And like, be honest. Like, I'm not even trying to say anything. He's like, you're like, yo, man, that girl's max of 4 made up of 5. Like, oh, but anyways, he we'll get into these stories more on our next series of podcasts, which are a little bit more R-rated. But I just wanted to say this part of it because the condoms were brought up. But we were like, he somehow said that he fucked her in the bushes in like 0.5 seconds and came back to us, which is story. We're like, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you bring condoms with you? He was like, yeah, man. I fucked her and then I threw the condom like right on the like fence. There's like a fence alleyway, and we're like, we didn't believe him, and we know that he didn't fuck her because there was actually a witness that saw him actually walk from the club back to the hotel directly, one of our friends. And then we're like, okay, let's go back in the morning and find this condom, then we'll believe you. And then me and you, bro, were like, yo, man, he's going to say some dumb shit like a bird picked it up and ate it and like flew away with it. And we're like, let's see what he says the next day. So we go there. We go down the same alleyway. He said he banged her. And then we're like, yo, let's find this condom. We're like, yo, man, we can't find this condom anywhere. Where's it? It's like, yo, you know what, man? There was like a bunch of birds around here yesterday. I think one of them probably picked it up and flew away with it. And I legitimately remember all of us looking at each other and be like, he fucking did it. He said it. We can't believe this was actually fucking said. We didn't think this would happen. We were like, we thought he'd at least make up another excuse, but he used the most ridiculous excuse possible. Yep. But anyways, that was that. And to get back to Hamster, we flew back and he continued talking to this ugly ugly girl. And we're like, whatever, that's fine. And what we found out later was that, and just keep in mind, one, this guy is not about like, he's about the most cleanest like guy with sex and all this stuff, other than me. Actually, I'm probably the most like safest because you two fuckers are dirty as fuck. And
no way.
But he's pretty like hardcore stringent on these things though. He put it in raw into a girl who he's known for like a few days. And then that's one unexplained unsolved behaviors. Then we get back and we find out that he, after 1 week after meeting her, told her that she must move from her area of residence, which was like, I'm telling you, maybe a 6, 7, 8 hour drive away from where he lives, to move into the basement with his parents, move into his mom's basement. And she's like, what? And he's like, yeah, if you want this to continue, this is how my culture is. You must now move to where I am and live in my parents' basement. And I think that probably scared the shit out of her, for one. And then and for two, in that culture, especially from what he says, he is not allowed to marry anything out of his culture. So he was bringing some random foreign girl into his parents' basement, trying to get her to live with him like one week after they've met. So he's just fucked up. Like, this is what we were talking about with this guy, Hamster. He is unorthodox, completely opposite of what he says. He does the opposite. Remember, I think Brown brought fried rice one time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where he was like fucking talking about eating fried rice, how it's so bad for you and shit at your house. And then 3 seconds later, you turn around, grab the fucking plate, and started eating the whole tray of fried rice to himself.
He literally fucking looked at a corner. He was in the corner sitting there, and we're like, yo, we turn around and we looked at this guy. Like, yo, what are you doing? And we see he's moving, and his head's down. He's all slouched over, and we see his hands moving and shit. He almost looks like he's pumping in the corner. And he turns around, and his mouth is fucking full. His cheeks are all like puffed out and shit. and he's got that tray in his hand with fried rice. Like, you just fucking told us it wasn't good, and I feel like you're putting it down. But he's like that. It's the same thing even for girls. He's like, our type of girls or our culture girls are the only one that are good at it and clean and shit. And I mean, this story is gonna go into like the other series of podcasts, the ones you're talking about with the R-rated stuff. But basically, long story short, I brought a girl back that was his culture, and all of a sudden when he found out from her that he was his culture, he's like, yo man, they don't do shit like that. Yo, our girls don't do shit like that. They're like the cleanest and purest. But he still didn't. To this day, he still didn't even settle for his own type, so it don't matter.
He didn't sell for his own type, and not only that, there's a whole bunch of other examples where he does the complete opposite, like that going to rub and tugs and shit. Like he'd like, not that we did that or anything like that, but he would always criticize like one of our friends in our groups that would go to. He's like, oh man, you're so nasty and dirty, and like can't believe you go to like rub and tugs. Like those girls probably all have like herpes and shit. This guy, one of his other like friends that we don't know, we call him Rub and Tug Man, which I think brought him up another time. Fucking took him to a rub and tug, and then from that point on, he's like, I have to go to a rub and tug at least once a week because it's like very relaxing for me. So he's a completely opposite man. And just to give the listeners an update, at this point, we are all in a fantasy pool together up until very recently. I'm talking about like a couple months ago, and we were chirping each other like how you would in fantasy sports. And one guy was like, well, it was some chirping going on. One guy was like, well, at least I don't go on vacation and get raw tuna. And this was in code too. Like he was saying that only specifically to other people who know it. So anybody else in that group would not have known what they were talking about. It would just been a weird one-off comment. But Hamster blocked us all. And I'm talking about blocked us in every way possible. Phone number, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, everything was blocked. And I'm not talking about it took days. He put thought into this. It was instant. Right after that comment was put out there, he left the group chat. We looked at other social media again. Contact. We're like, why were you leaving? And then we were all blocked. We couldn't even find him. And to this day, we remained blocked. Because some guy said, at least I don't like raw tuna on vacation. You guys got anything else to add?
No, I think we should wrap this up.
Pretty good.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up just now. So this is just the wrap up on the hamster. I think we're pretty much done with him. We think we got another episode on Skunk left before we may move on to a couple other things for this Unsolved Behavior series. But leave us comments on our Instagram handle, the Big Trio 3. That's with the number 3. And then individually, the Big Trio _yellow _white and _brown. Until next time, we will. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that this was a little bit late, but there was a little bit of technical difficulties. But we should be back on regular schedule this week. So from the Big Trio, I am Big Trio Yellow.
Big Trio White.
Big Trio Brown.
Bye-bye.